Governor General's Award in Drama, in which he takes the real history of Africville and its demise and casts it in the idiom of a play, which we have been delving deeply into for a while now. And you're actually from Halifax, are you not, Mr.
Yes,
Brown?
I am. And in fact, my relationship with Africville was my father was, my dad was the foreman of a pier, and the pier was right next to Africville. So every day I'd go down and see my dad, and I got to know all the Africvillians, you know, because my dad was the foreman there. And my dad hired lots of Africvillians because they wouldn't hire them because they were my color. And my dad used to hire them, and they used to get all pissed off at Dad because, you know, he'd hire them and all that stuff. And he was just brilliant, and he introduced me to this story. And if you want to know what the genesis of this story, I realized at a very young age this was going on. I was younger, if you can believe it. I was younger at one point, and my father and all the adults, they used to whisper about Africville. What are they doing to Africville? You know, and as I got older, I learned what they did to Africville, and I wanted to write that story. And it was very difficult writing that story. The reason why, it's too nebulous. If you write the story of Africa, and many attempts have been made, if you write the story of Africville, it's all over the place. So how do you focus? So what I did was I focused on Clarice, and I focused on Tully, and I brought it right so, you know, you and I can understand what's going on here, you know, and how we were let go very much.
So that gives you an intro to Mr. Boyd and what lies behind Consecrated Ground. But in all fairness to dialogue, he needs to know who he's dialoguing with. So we'll begin there.
I can't remember what the initial question was to get our names, but my name for the session is Cobalt.
Cobalt.
It's a synonym for blue, so
I know what cobalt is.
So yeah, I play a little bit of blues, and that was my relationship with initial relationship with the material.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm from England, and I have a.
You don't say.
I had the conversation.
Oh, you're from England, are you?
But I had the conversation last night with somebody saying, "Oh, are you Australian? Are you New Zealand?" Some people over here don't know.
I know where you're from. My best friend is from around your place.
I probably know him. Yeah.
And if you want to say what you studied or what you do?
Well, previously I did up to a master's degree in physics, and now I'm doing more writing and working with the professor and stuff.
Physics? What's he doing here?
He's actually exploring
okay.
how letters and words and phrases interact. And it's very interesting to see how a scientist approaches literature.
Maybe molecular creative energy or something.
All the power to you.
Thanks.
And you, madam?
I'm Layla. I don't have any pseudonyms. So
Cobalt?
No, it's the first time I just my friend.
And so, well, you know, my introduction to this session is Slavic, but I've known about Africville. I actually visited, and I wrote a little. I write different things. I used to be a journalist of war in Africa, so-called development worker as well, anthropologist after that, because I found reality did not answer my questions about human cruelty. And so I write different things. I write creative.
Yeah, but how did you come across Consecrated Ground? if you don't mind me asking, like, did he suggest it to you?
Slavic, yes.
Oh, okay.
Slavic.
Oh, okay.
So,
Sorry.
yeah, so the book I just discovered through Slavic, but I've seen the documentary, and on my visit, on my travel writing when we went to Nova Scotia, I went to the Black Cultural Center and met some people, and so yes, I've heard about, and they recommended the documentary, so I've known about Africville from there. And it's really wonderful that it's getting the attention it deserves, because it's so overwhelming. The tragedy, the beauty of it, and how it can just be razed to the ground.
That's what knocks me out about it. Like you said 2 words to me just now, the tragic and beauty. And that's what knocks me out about it. Like, how can it be tragic and beautiful at the same time? These things are not, they don't coexist.
Yeah.
And that's what knocked me out about the play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you for saying that.
And
Your check is coming in the mail.
At last.
So don't worry about it.
Waiting for the past 160
Okay,
years.
shut up. Tragic and beauty. Hey, your check is coming in the mail.
You're going to-
Sorry.
do I understand correctly that you're also currently pursuing studies at the University de Montréal?
I'm finishing my PhD.
In what area?
The unknowledge of civilized knowledge.
Tiens.
So it's epistemology, anthropology, and I'm looking at how stories, the impetus of the whole system of violence and discrimination comes from the ontologies, like how we conceive of genesis of human beings and animals and the whole world. And so that kind of drives us to create certain relationship, or to relate to the world in specific ways.
Certainly.
So I identified 2 ways: the wild way, which is you let the other be and live for no purpose than
Just
their
let them
pleasure
be.
of being.
Right.
Exactly.
I
And then
agree.
the civilized, which is
Oh.
somebody knows what you exist for. And from that comes all the oppression for animals, humans, based on gender, race, ethnic, like the whole spectrum, basically.
Very functionalist.
Exactly. And so that's basically what divides our stories. So
And
it's
Professor, why did you ask that question?
Because
You should have shut up when you were going, man. Anyway, sorry.
and we'll go to rock and roll.
My name is Rock and Roll. I was generation when I was in Poland, like 15, 14, we're listening Beatles, Rolling Stones, all this stuff. So we're thinking civilization here is a Western, is a symbol of the, freedom, what will oppress in our systems through the music. It was, so the reason
But you encouraged me, because where did you see? Consecrated Ground is never played in Montreal.
Yeah, which
No,
is
I
And
amazing.
you know that? I know
That's
it's played in Toronto. Oh, by the way, it's played in New York. But Montreal? I don't know why. No, I don't. Seriously, I think maybe the separatist element, because what we're saying in that play is consecrated ground, right? And maybe the separatists were consecrated ground, and no one wants to see riots, or so maybe that's.
No, I've
that's
seen
the
this
reason.
play, but in my mind,
Where
through
did you
reading.
see it?
No, through reading the book. So
That's how good I am.
So we had our own. It will be interesting to see confrontation.
I know.
How
and
some
the
of them
play,
just.
it's never been
yeah.
played here. This is my hometown now. I'm from Montreal now. I live here, except I can't find Dr. Cornett's place of abode. But I live here now. This is my town. And why don't they play this show?
similar experience.
I'm not asking you, I should stop focusing
But
on
what
you.
is your impression? You will be better selling the idea, let the people read the book, or let they be visual like now seeing? So what do you think, what's the way to sell? What's your, because you are author, you've seen the play, what do you think the best media will be?
I've seen the play several times, and I believe
What's the
that's-
bigger impact for people?
I think the book.
Book, yeah.
Interesting.
Because in the play, you know, at the end, when there's all scratching on the ground, you know, see, that's a hard question. Go back to Poland. You know, that's a hard question. Gee,
And Chris, we're going to get on your play.
Oh, that's okay. I'm the pseudonym that I have is Aretha, in homage to Aretha Franklin, of course. And that, Dr. Cornett introduced us.
W.C. Handy.
W.C. Handy, that's his name, introduced us to the book. So.
Food conspiracy.
I don't know, man. I don't know anymore. But anyway, W.C. Handy.
W.C. Handy, yeah, no, we always, W.C. Handy arranges a lot of different seminars, and we do a piece of literature or music or artwork that he picks out. And so anyway, so that's how I've attended quite a few of the seminars, so that's how I know.
Can I ask you a question? Did you like it?
The book? Oh yes, a lot.
Come on, Oprah.
Yeah.
Come on, Oprah.
I can tell you that I'm an avid reader, but I don't read plays very often.
I know nobody does.
And the situation of being in a seminar with the play, I read something that I probably would never have picked up, even if unless somebody recommended it to me, right? But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I find with theater, reading theater takes a very different kind of focus than reading,
Yeah, it does. As opposed to a novel,
or
right?
poetry.
Because
It's
not
very
everything's
different.
spelled. You know, yes.
And
Even writing it is different.
right. Oh yes. And the descriptions of the set I found really cool. The idea that they were above the ground, and the lighting, and the church, and then the pew on one side, and I could really visualize that, even though I have no idea what
I
it
know,
actually
that's
looks
my-
like, but I could
that's my
feel
job,
that.
right?
I thought that was, yeah. But
Forget your check. I'm sending it to her.
I'm born
It's
I'm
over
born
her
in a
way.
communist
Oh,
country.